What's going on, everyone? So, Darvin Ham, he has really had his struggles this year. Early on, I really defended him. Because look, last year was his first year, came in the league. He was a head coach in a situation that just was not ideal, right? The roster didn't make any sense. We were just kind of trying to survive and stay afloat. I thought he was doing a pretty good job given the circumstances and what he had to work with. Then you go and make the trade. Lakers are off to the races. They look great. You get into the playoffs, and Darvin Ham was actually very good, especially in the first two rounds, right? And then you get into the Denver series, and it was like, he was rough, but like everyone was rough. It was just a bad series, and he's just trying to clean on anything, and nobody's really showing up. No one's playing to the level in which we needed them to play to, and it was just an absolute mess. Bring everybody back, get a whole new key pieces in this roster. And it was like, all right, let's go, right? This team has the opportunity and potential to be a true contender. Let's get it, right? And there were their struggles early on, questionable rotations, but like I even talked about it in the offseason, that I expected Darvin Ham to do that, right? Because when you do have such a deep roster and then injuries end up taking place and all that stuff, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, you need to kind of see, how does this lineup work? How does this lineup work? What about these five guys? What about these four with him, right? Like you're kind of experimenting early on. Now, there were still signs, there were still issues, and I talked about how, Darvin Ham has his issues still, but hopefully he can make those adjustments. He learns and can kind of improve as the season progresses, but it just hasn't happened, right? And it's frustrating. And as much as I tried to defend him early on and hope that he would kind of learn from his mistakes, he just continues to fall into the same traps. And the rotations are still questionable. The utilization of players drive me insane. I mean, absolutely insane, right? The way he utilizes Rui Hachimura, I've talked about this heavily. Rui has just done such a great job of evolving and adapting, and also being aggressive and not settling. He's kind of embraced the role of just being like a basketball player, right? But still, like, that doesn't mean he's being utilized properly. That doesn't mean that he's in the best position for the best success, right? And even then, like, it drives me crazy that they call his number from time to time. Give him an opportunity on the basketball court, right? Like, he is such a mismatch for most teams. It's ridiculous. And I think he could easily be a 20-point-a-game scorer with his efficiency if given the real opportunity. I'm not saying you have to play him as like the main primary offensive threat, but especially when like AD or LeBron or guys are on the bench or our offense gets stagnant at times and it's like, man, we can't buy a bucket. Put Rui on the block and dump the ball down to him and see if he can create some magic, see if he can create some work, right? Spencer Dinwiddie. Now, I was really disappointed in Spencer Dinwiddie yesterday in the Brooklyn Nets game. I thought that was a game that he would kind of like, hey, old team, right? Bad blood. Let me show up. Let me ball out. Let me show them what's good. And it really did. It really disappointed me because, again, I've defended Spencer Dinwiddie heavily. I still, to an extent, think it's not entirely on him, right? Because Darvin Ham, again, fails to utilize Spencer Dinwiddie properly. He fails to put him in a role that he's most comfortable. And the thing is that the role that he's most comfortable in is a role that we need. A playmaking and scoring threat off the bench. Our bench is atrocious offensively. We've basically traded all of our bench scoring for the starting unit, which the starting unit has been historically great, but it's really affected our bench. And putting Spencer Dinwiddie in his proper role, I think would help in a lot of ways. I'm not saying that he's going to go out there and he's going to be a 30-10 guy or something like that, or a 20-10 guy, but I do think he could be a 10-5 guy, which would give us something. And now with the return of Gabe Vincent, if he can find his stride, he can find his stroke. You got 2 point of attack defensive guys, 2 guys that can handle the basketball, 2 guys that can make plays, score, shoot, all of those things. And then also, let's say Gabe Vincent gives you 8 to 10 points. Spencer Dinwiddie gives you 8 to 10 points. There you go. There's 16 to 20 points off the bench. Right? At least that's better than we're getting right now. We're getting 2 points, and it's from the guy that just returned. But regardless, like Darvin Ham, his lack of rotations, I've talked about it. Rotation structure. doesn't really seem to grasp and have a real understanding of rotation structure and how to properly utilize and have the proper 5 guys out there. Right? It's like he's at times kind of still grasping at straws. Now, look, Darvin Ham in the playoffs, he's going to look better just because he's going to dump the ball down to LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Everything's going to flow through them. He's not going to have to make very many changes or adjustments, and the Lakers are going to be good, right? As long as they don't play Denver, right? The Lakers should probably beat everybody else that's in front of them. Now, I still think the Lakers can beat Denver. I just think that, Denver has had the Lakers number. But one of the big things that people have been screaming and preaching for some time is to fire Darvin Ham. Fire Darvin Ham. Fire Darvin Ham. And I didn't think that they would do it it being so late in the season. But based on reports that have came out, Darvin Ham is reportedly going to be let go. We don't have the official report from the team yet. The team is supposed to release an official report sometime later today or tomorrow. But per Shams, Lakers have grown increasingly disconnected with Darvin Ham, and the players and organization feel Ham could hinder a deep playoff run and would prefer to let him go with 7 games remaining to allow the team to get organized leading into the postseason. So again, this is the report. We'll see if they let him go during this road trip, right? Because they still have 2 more games on this road trip. So I'm curious to see if they're going to let him go now. Are they going to have Phil Handy take over? Again, there's not like a ton of details about this, just that they're going to let him go, that they're planning on firing him before the playoffs. They want to have these 7 games to kind of figure out, okay, let's say it's Phil Handy. Phil Handy, let's implement the structure, let's get the rotation, let's get everything down, kind of give you a couple games before we get into the play-in, and then lead into the actual playoffs. This is huge for the Lakers. I don't know how I feel about this because it's just so late in the season. And with 7 games left, are the Lakers going to be able to rally enough in order to have the success necessary? Now, there is that, coach firing bump, right? You usually see it like with all teams and all sports where like a coach gets fired and the team just kind of rallies together and rattle off a couple wins. If I had to guess, I think that he'll be let go when we return from this road trip. So they'll close out Toronto, they'll close out Washington. Those will be his last 2 games. And then get home, get ready for that back-to-back against the Cavs and the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then kind of let Phil Handy play over. But it does say that they wanted to give the last 7 games. So I guess that means that they're going to let him go today. Again, I just, this late in the season, right? If there was like some coach that made a ton of sense that you like going into next season, then sure, right? Get rid of him, bring in the new coach, let that new coach kind of have these 7 games to flush it out, get into the playoffs. You go on a deep playoff run, you get that experience and that with the organization, and then boom, now you jump into the offseason, you can implement your structure, your organization. We'll see what the Lakers do, right? The Lakers want to get another star. If they get another star, then, this team could look completely different. It's kind of odd to do this with 7 games left in the season. I can't think of another time that this has actually happened, but here we are. And hey, we'll see if this actually does have the boost that the Lakers need. Because look, the Lakers have won 18 of the last 26 games. They're like 18-8 over the last 26 games. You got 7 games left. You gotta go bare minimum 5-2, ideally 6-1. I'd love if they go 7-0, but they have 2 tough back-to-backs. I do think that they win the first 2 back-to-backs against the Raptors and the Wizards, but then that back-to-back against Cleveland and Minnesota, 2 teams that are still fighting for seeding and stuff like that's just, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tall task, but I definitely think that they could do it. The other big part of this, and the biggest element in my opinion, is that, this being April Fool's, it's all a joke. But yeah, no, of course, it's 7 games left in the season. I know a lot of people really wanted Darvin Ham. I was trying to make this as believable as possible and get people to be excited and kind of fall for the gag. Just because, again, like they there's 7 games left this season. They're not going to fire Darvin Ham, for being honest. I'm sure many people, as soon as they saw it, were like, he's playing. But it's all in good fun. It's all good jokes. The rest of the videos today will be normal videos. But I had to get my little gag in. Don't spoil it for people, right? Let the people that fall for it fall for it. For the people that get at the end, let's leave a little like purple and gold heart or something, right? Leave something in the comments that's not a spoiler, to kind of, again, just have a good time, good little gag. Let me know if I got you. You'd be like, got it, in the comments or something, and then purple and gold hearts or something, or put in just Darvin Ham. Put just Darvin Ham in purple and gold hearts. Boom, there you go. But I hope you got a good little laugh out of this. I hope you had a good time with this. I had to make it believable, so I had to like drag it out, make it like a real video. Otherwise, it's not believable if like a minute into it, I'm like, I gotcha. But anyway, appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being good sports. Don't forget to like the video. It helps me out a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.